8:18 a.m. In today's topic, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the twin flame dynamic and what it actually is. What it actually is, not the fancy fairy tale stuff. So the reality of the twin flame connection. This is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, especially if you think that you're in a twin flame connection. It may cause you to be angry. It may cause you to want to click off the video. It may cause you to just think that I'm lying or that I'm jealous or something. I wouldn't wish this connection on my worst enemy because it's not actually a connection. It's basically you're being tampered with. Anyways, so what is the twin flame connection? The twin flame narrative, it's basically a false light narrative that encourages one to be emotionally dependent. Call it infatuation or limerence. Point 1, it's usually an age gap relationship. Point 2, it can be long distance or face-to-face. Point 3, usually involves a lot of confusing events. And this is not for no reason, by the way. Point 4, comes at a turning point in your life. This means if, for example, something really big happened in your life or you're in some kind of transition period, for example, the event could be you are coming out of a major depression, or it could be somebody in your family just passed away, or it could be something actually really amazing happened to you, but it's gonna kind of create some kind of switch in your life. So point 5 can be demonically called in. Note, witchcraft is demonic, and some people are practicing witchcraft and they are not aware that this is what they're doing. So you could be consciously practicing witchcraft and unconsciously practicing witchcraft. Point 6 comes with a chain of intense spiritual events. So, for example, many twin flames talk about sleep disturbances. They don't call it sleep disturbances because some of them are happy about this, but it's sleep disturbances nonetheless. Nonetheless. Some twin flames do talk about telepathy. I think you're just being tampered with demonically is what's happening. You are basically able to predict certain things and know certain things that you shouldn't know because you are being demonically tampered with. And there is a magnetic pull towards the person. But I just want to say this, and some people are not going to like this, but if you're not spiritually covered, it's very easy for an entity to come in and tamper with you if you are not spiritually covered. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Number 7. Actually, yeah, I want to really emphasize the magnetic pull that you may experience towards that person. Because like I said, is that a pull that's coming from you? Or are you being called to that person demonically? And don't forget that you have ancestors, right? And your ancestors have their experiences. And this is going to be a bit more metaphysical, but I'm really putting myself on the line talking about this. But in your genetics, there are certain things that stay there. So if your family of origin was into some stuff, you're going to pull it into your bloodline. It's going to be there. So if you are feeling a magnetic pull towards someone, ask yourself the question, why? Because usually it's probably something ancestral, and I don't mean that in a good way. Number 8, they will be, and you will also be, psychologically abusive, manipulative, just toxic. Many twin flames like to allude to the idea that, you could just come together and be peaceful and sing Kumbaya. But no, the twin flame dynamic is usually toxic, and this is why there's the runner-chaser dynamic, which always happens in a twin flame connection, and that is a toxic dynamic. Either your walls are up or their walls are up, but either way, it's a toxic dynamic. So, number 9, the runner-chaser dynamic. It's not a sign to keep chasing. It's not a sign to keep the relationship going. It's a sign to change course. It's a sign to change course. Just turn around and change course. Because if somebody creates this type of dynamic with you, it's either they're playing mind games or they don't know what they want. And either way, you don't want no parts of that. And like I said, I'm going to be really clear. I'm not trying to break anyone's hearts here or be a buzzkill. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but this is just the reality of the twin flame dynamic. Number 10, both are practicing witchcraft on some level, even if unaware. So like I said, some people could be practicing witchcraft, but they're unconscious about it. They're not aware. This is something that they're just kind of doing automatically because either it's part of their culture, it's part of their upbringing, or they've just learned how to do this through, just life experiences, and they figure it works. But they're not aware that it's actually witchcraft. So number 11 involves energetic parasites, or what some may call demons. So I might be able to talk more about this, but twin flame dynamics always contain energetic parasites, or what we might call demons. If you are in a twin flame dynamic, there's 1,000% chance that you are also attached to an energetic parasite. So while you think that you're connected to this person that you see before you, because they're a person basically, but and mind you, this person may not even be consciously aware of what's happening, because they could be either an empty vessel, which is somebody who is, that's another topic. I don't know if I could get into that right now, but they're either an empty vessel, or 2, they're just like kind of unconscious about these type of things. They could be both. And sometimes, if you're unlucky, the person will be actually fully aware. I don't know which is worse, an empty vessel or someone who's fully aware. So the conclusion is, you're never going to find the truth if you don't leave the situation, because the situation itself, the twin flame dynamic, is there meant to keep you confused and desiring more, to say the least. The twin flame dynamic is not healthy, and I know it's not healthy because all you have to do is do a few quick Brave, DuckDuckGo, Google, any search engine that that you like using. Just search up twin flame dynamic, and eventually you will find forums of people talking about the fact that they're in separation, bunny ears, quote, separation with their twin flame. And mind you, they're married, or the person is married, and this supposed separation, and what I mean by that is, the twin flame community is so toxic that it will encourage people to think and believe that even if you're in separation, you somehow still have a chance with the person. Like 20 years could have passed, 50 years could have passed, and they will still think that they have some kind of chance. The twin flame community encourages very unhealthy behaviors, and if you are young, the way that I was very young when I started to practice witchcraft. I was very young when I started to get into occult practices. I was very young when these strange metaphysical things started to happen, and I had to cut that out of my life. But I was very young. So you have all kinds of people on the internet of all ages, of all backgrounds, all cultural experiences, all types of society, social dynamics, all positions of authority or, lack thereof. all kinds of people are drawn to this twin flame dynamic. But one thing is certain, if you are a young person getting into the twin flame dynamic, as somebody who's your elder, let's call it that, let's call it that, as somebody who has a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more discernment, thanks to God, amen, I would tell you and I would advise you as a young person to stay away from the twin flame dynamic, because it's not anything healthy and it's going to encourage unhealthy behaviors. And I would also encourage you to stay away from tarot cards. I would encourage you to stay away from witchcraft. I would encourage you to stay away from all these metaphysical things that are trending right now. As somebody who was practicing this before it was cool, I was literally the hipster of witchcraft. Okay, so whatever that means, if that makes sense, you know. So all I'm saying is, take this as a warning. Take this as a warning. Stay away from the twin flame dynamic. Stay away from witchcraft. Stay away from tarot cards. Stay away from metaphysical. Stay away from astrology. All these things, because they are not going to lead you anywhere useful or productive. Okay, the only type of productivity you're going to gain from this is learning from your mistakes. Okay, so yeah, that's it. End of recording.